If you're considering buying a Lexus RX, you're going to want to watch this video first. The RX was one of the first vehicles in its class, and it's been popular ever since it first came out back in 1998. This version came out in 2016, and while there are many great things, it doesn't come without its problems. Be sure to watch to the end to see whether or not I recommend buying a used one, or if you should consider the competition. If you enjoy automotive content and find this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Styling is obviously subjective and it depends on your taste, but I think the RX350 looks pretty good. Most people either love or hate the grille, but the body lines still look modern. The headlights and taillights have a nice color and they have a premium look. The rear window line is unique in another aspect that people either love or hate, but the rear end looks high-end and up-to-date. These mid-level 20-inch wheels have a nice premium finish and fit the car well, filling up the wheel wells nicely. The RX is very comfortable to drive and easy to handle, making it perfect for long road trips. Some people compare it to a Camry, and that's pretty accurate, but in a good way. Light, smooth steering, good handling. The handling is comfortable and it makes the car easy to drive, even though it's not as sporty as an MDX or a German competitor. It corners well without much body roll, but it definitely doesn't encourage you to drive fast. It doesn't really feel like it hugs the road like some of the sportier competitors, but the steering is effortless and what you'd expect from a Lexus. The 3.5-liter V6 is an excellent engine with good power numbers, putting out 295 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque. The engine is very smooth and extremely quiet, whether you're idling at an intersection or accelerating. It's almost silent when accelerating normally, and even at redline, it's very smooth and quiet. Lexus and Toyota have used this engine for many years in different cars, such as the Sienna, Camry, and Highlander. It provides enough power for an effortless drive in most situations, and it's easy to keep up with traffic around town, but the acceleration is nothing to write home about. It revs quickly and quietly, and it's so smooth, but the passing power isn't the best. Accelerating at full throttle is pretty underwhelming. The 0 to 60 time is around 7 seconds. The 8-speed transmission is very smooth most of the time, but the throttle response in the 2016 and 2017 models can be very jerky. Sometimes when speeding up, it seems to take off when accelerating off the line, then it lags, requiring you to put your foot down farther until it takes off again. It's very annoying and something I haven't gotten used to, and it seems to do it regardless of the drive mode. It was supposedly improved for the later model years, but I haven't tried one out. The EPA estimates 19 miles per gallon city, 26 miles per gallon highway, and 22 miles per gallon combined, but it's actually better than that most of the time. The gas mileage has been great around town in mixed driving, and it doesn't use an annoying start-stop feature, which is always a plus. Lexus recommends using regular gas, which is substantially cheaper than premium, which helps out quite a bit when filling up. Around town and in stop-and-go traffic, it usually averages about 24 miles per gallon. On the highway and longer trips, it will get about 28 miles per gallon if you keep it near the speed limit, which seems pretty good for a vehicle of this size with all-wheel drive. This is probably the best riding car I've ever driven. Even with 20-inch wheels, the suspension soaks up the bumps extremely well, and the ride isn't crashy at all. The ride quality is much better than the GX460, and that vehicle typically has 18-inch wheels with a lot bigger sidewall. Given it's a much older body-on-frame SUV, but you'd think the large tires and small wheels would result in a ride that's more comparable to the RX. This suspension is geared more towards comfort when compared to some of the competition, and you will definitely notice that. You can drive over any type of road surface with potholes and frost heaves with no problem. If I had to name the best part about this car, it would be the ride comfort, and this combined with the smooth, quiet powertrain and lack of road noise are main selling points. The interior has high-quality materials, and the design still looks modern with a mixture of bamboo and leather. The perforated leather portions are extremely soft and supple with plenty of padding. As you might guess from the roofline, headroom is lacking a little bit on the inside. Most taller drivers will have enough headroom if they put the seat all the way down, but thigh support isn't great for tall drivers, and the windshield gives the illusion of a lack of headroom. Looking forward, the slanted windshield gives the interior a slightly claustrophobic feeling, and the lack of spaciousness is typical of many Lexus and Toyota vehicles. Rear seats are soft and comfortable with a decent amount of headroom, but access seems to be a little bit better in the Highlander. Shorter drivers will find the interior to be very comfortable, but the cabin doesn't feel quite as open and airy as something like the Highlander or MDX that have a more boxy and a less sporty and sweeping appearance. It doesn't seem like it, but many of the interior dimensions are comparable to the GX460. The cabin is extremely quiet and the road noise is very muted. The quiet engine and plenty of sound deadening results in an extremely quiet ride, regardless of speed or the road surface. Quality and reliability is obviously the highlight of any Lexus or Toyota product, and it doesn't disappoint. In 7 years and almost 65,000 miles, this car has been absolutely flawless with no issues at all. The naturally aspirated V6 engine is one of the longest lasting V6s available, and it's known for its reliability. As mentioned, it's been used in many different vehicles over the years, and it really is a great motor. The 8-speed transmission was a newer design at the time and hasn't been quite as proven, but time will tell how it will hold up. Have the engine oil changed frequently, change the transmission fluid every 30,000 or 60,000 miles, and follow the maintenance manual for other fluid changes, and the car should last a very long time. Even if you don't do these things, it will still probably last a very long time. Lexus stopped using this engine for 2023 and started using a turbo 4-cylinder for the RX as well as many of its other vehicles. The turbo 4-cylinder provides a little more low-end torque, which is nice to have when driving around town, but the 0 to 60 time isn't as good, and the long-term reliability probably won't be impeccable like this. In addition, the new one recommends premium gas, so that's going to reduce any potential gas savings. If you want the low maintenance, long-term reliability, and silky smooth power, you'll want to buy an older one. As with really any car that's more than 5 years old, technology isn't really going to be that great, but it was pretty good for the time. The backup camera works fine, but if you want the panoramic surround view, you'll need to get the top trim. The screen is very large for the year, and even compared to new cars, but it's not a touchscreen, and the controls are very difficult to use when you're parked, never mind when you're trying to drive. The mouse pad is extremely sensitive, and it's very hard to click accurately. Use the presets for your radio stations, and use the automatic climate control, and you won't have to use the screen very often. One nice thing about using the automatic climate control is the car will turn on the heated or ventilated seats automatically depending on the temperature setting. This feature is becoming more and more common now, but it wasn't at the time. I leave the lane keep assist turned off at all times because it seems to interfere with my steering constantly if I'm not perfectly in the middle of the lane. It will fight you even if you drift towards one side of the lane, even on sharp corners. The bass stereo sounds pretty good, and it doesn't make you feel like you need the Mark Levinson, although that probably sounds excellent. The RX350 is an amazing used SUV with excellent quality and reliability. It's an overall fantastic vehicle, and even the small complaints are very minimal. The RX is much better than Lexus sedans in my opinion. It's not the fastest and sportiest, but comfort and reliability take priority for most people. If you care more about comfort than sportiness, this is a great option.